Hello, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiots talk about movies. And today we talk about how Hurricane Nicole fucked us all up.
Yeah, we thought we were safe.
Her brother Ian came by, and now Nicole's coming on over.
And she's going a little weird in her directions.
She's indecisive.
She is a little indecisive.
She swings both ways, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wow. Not where we were going with that, but okay.
I decided to take this in another direction, just like Nicole did.
Wow. Okay. See, that was better. Today's episode is brought to you by Shaker and Spoon. Shaker and Spoon is a monthly subscription service that gives you bar quality cocktail recipes and ingredients designed by award-winning mixologists. For a limited time only, Shaker and Spoon is going to be releasing a Drink Masters cocktail collection, which is based on the new hit Netflix series. Essentially, for those of you who haven't already started it or started binging it, think MasterChef or Ink Master, but it goes beyond just making a cocktail. It also goes into like the incorporations of the astrology, like the idea of it, you know, like how you design it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, if you'd like to try some of these cocktails featured on the show, head over to shakerandspoon.com and use our promo code SIPS10, that's SIPS number 10, to get $10 off your first subscription.
Hell yeah.
Also, another fun fact, all of the contestants for Drink Masters are actually alumni of the Shaker and Spoon Cocktail Club. One more time for you. That's our promo code SIPS10, SIPS number 10, to get $10 off. And from there, we're going to jump over to everyone's favorite segment. This week in Hollywood, our girl Beth will be taking it away for you. She'll be doing this music too. Sorry.
Hello. Yes. Acapella time. Now, with the holiday season just around the corner, there are quite a few new movies coming out to put you in the holiday spirit. Not only do we have Lindsay Lohan's film Falling for Christmas, which will be iconic, we now have a sequel to yet another iconic movie, A Christmas Story, starring the lead actor himself, Peter Billingsley. Super excited. However, there's a new film on the horizon, a holiday action feature titled Red One, with a star-studded cast including Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, and now J.K. Simmons and Bonnie Hunt are also added to the casting as Mr. and Mrs. Claus, might I add. This film sounds very interesting. However, there's no release date yet for the movie, and we will keep you updated if we hear of it. J.K. Simmons, though, as Santa Claus. Can we just let that sink in?
Yeah, it adds up. Now get ready, because 2023 Oscars are approaching. If you feel excited about it, I don't know if anybody feels still excited about it, but if you are, this ceremony is going to be March 12th. It has officially been announced that Jimmy Kimmel will be hosting this year, so maybe there actually now will be a reason to watch it, unless they, cut out more categories again. This is his third time hosting the awards, but let's hope he doesn't make any remarks to rile up Will Smith, which he won't be allowed there. When asked about hosting, Kimmel stated being invited to host the Oscars for a third time is either a great honor or a trap. Either way, I am grateful to the Academy for asking me to do so quickly after everyone good said no.
Apparently, you guys need to brace yourselves for this. The director, John M. Chu, is working on 2 movies that are based on the play Wicked. Fantastic play, by the way. He's been adding a surprising actor to the cast of these movies. A Mr. Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yes.
Goldblum has been chosen to play the Wizard of Oz. Another surprising choice for casting is Ariana Grande. Why? Who will be playing Glinda, the Good Witch. Wicked will be arriving in its 2-part forms in Christmas 2024 and Christmas 2025.
I've never seen the play. I always wanted to, but they took it off Broadway before I could ever go watch it.
It's a fantastic play. I got to watch it twice.
My God, I really want to see it. I can't wait for this.
I just want to see Jeff Goldblum being like, yes, the Wizard of Oz.
Why is he German?
I don't know. It's just isn't that how he speaks? I don't know. Well, whether you want it or not, Venom 3 is happening, so deal with it. It's being directed by Kelly Marcel, and while this is Marcel's first directional debut with the movie, it isn't her first time working in movies. Marcel wrote for
Directorial.
What'd I say? Directional?
Yes, you did.
Listen, it's the medications. Marcel, I'm sick and I'm not a druggie. Marcel wrote for films like Saving Mr. Banks and the first 50 Shades of Grey movie before her time on Team Venom. She had big roles in the first 2 Venoms, so hopefully she knows what she's doing with the third.
We're sure most of you have heard by now, Henry Cavill has left the iconic role of Netflix series The Witcher that he loves so dearly.
Boo.
The actor left because of his determination to stick to the true story and the lore of the Witcher world, which consists of...
Thanks, Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it consists, if you didn't know, consists of mostly, it's a series of books and the video games.
Yes, great video games.
Excellent video games.
Of course, Netflix had other ideas, which when do they not? They usually burn everything they touch, unfortunately. Which led to the actors leave. The writers have actually point blank stated that they hated the source material, and there's been a lot of contention with Cavill and the crew, but like the writers and such, as they would ask him to do stuff that he knew the character would never do, since he's a big fan of the original source material.
Good for him.
This has caused an uproar in the series fan base, leading to a new petition pledging that the fans will stop watching the show once Cavill's work is done at the end of season 3, and potentially cancel their Netflix subscriptions as well. The last time we checked, the petition had 140,000 plus signatures, and it's probably climbing from there.
Oh yeah, I checked it. This was like 3 days ago that I checked. So I'm sure by the time this episode's out, it will be, I think they needed 150,000, so I'm sure it's there by now.
It should be well over that by now.
It was climbing by the minute. Like every minute I would refresh it and it'd be up by like at least 10 votes.
I'm going to check it for shits and giggles.
Do it. Also, speaking of Netflix ruining everything, can we just talk? I want Netflix, if you're hearing, bring back Glow and bring back Dead to Me, because they canceled both of those shows. And
they canceled Dead to Me?
Yes.
Bro, fuck Netflix. I'm canceling my subscription right fucking now.
That's what I'm saying.
For real?
Those amazing
What the
shows.
fuck?
Yes.
It's so weird.
It's ridiculous.
It's weird with Netflix because they literally just greenlight absolutely anything and throw it at a wall, see what sticks. And one out of 100 titles will be good, and then that one title will be really, really good, and then they'll like do nothing with it.
And then they'll keep shows like Stranger Things that should have been just a 1 or 2 season thing and just beat it until it's dead.
Yes. So if the petition you're referring to about The Witcher is on change.org.
Yes.
It is currently at 178,918 signatures as of 1 minute ago.
That's
and it
crazy.
keeps climbing by 1 to 5 signatures roughly every minute.
That's hilarious. All right, Lewis, why don't you mention our last little headline here?
Yes, we'll be finishing off This Week in Hollywood with a reference to the Japanese film company Toho, which is confirming a new Godzilla movie is in the making for 2023. I'm hoping that the new Godzilla...
Was that a good or a bad scream? I don't know.
That was good.
He said, let's go. Anyway, there aren't many details thus far, as the movie has yet to be titled. However, we do know that it has a release date of November 3rd of 2023.
Wow.
Woo.
Thanks for coming to This Week in Hollywood. And now we'll be going...
Wait.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Another announcement.
You can find all of our sources cited on our Discord channel. Thank you. That was it.
Forgive me, I got ahead of myself.
You did.
We'll be jumping over to...
Big Blues, Big Brews.
Wow, what an announcement.
There's a lot of vibrato in that one.
Yes, there was.
She's the jazz singer.
I actually did manage to find 2 cocktails that were a reference specifically to this movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Interesting.
I cannot find the recipes independently online. I can only find the mention of them and the recipe itself in a Daily Beast article.
Oh.
So, the Daily Beast did an interview and consulted with mixologist Ian Ward, who
Hi, Ian.
together
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. But also, thank you, Lucian Connor, his creative partner.
Yes, thank you. Lucy, my girl.
The guy, by the way, Lucian, not...
Oh, I thought it was Lucy and Connor.
No, Lucian.
Oh. My apologies.
Lucian Connor.
Oh my God.
Lucian. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it.
Yes.
Formed the creative team of the Snake Oil Cocktail Company.
Great name.
And yes, a cocktail design and consulting agency. Ward previously served as the mixologist at a restaurant known as Whisk and Ladle, and since forming Snake Oil Cocktail Company, has designed drinks for several major national events, as well as for the restaurant Seersucker and the Quality Social Bar, both of which are located in San Diego, California. Inspired by the Ride of the Apes, Ward created these two recipes that we're going to be talking about: the Apes and the Humans.
Hey.
Which were also featured at Seersucker during San Diego's Comic-Con. I'm going to skip ahead. If you guys would like to read the article, there is some commentary from Mr. Ward to explain some of this stuff. One of the things that he did is he took a cocktail known as the Last Word that's featured at Seersucker in San Diego, and he substituted in a liqueur known as cachaça, which is a Brazilian distilled spirit made from fermented sugarcane juice. So the recipe for the Apes cocktail is going to be 4 teaspoons of banana and green chartreuse jam, 1.5 ounces of cachaça, half an ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, and 1 plantain. What you're going to do here is you're going to combine your jam, your cachaça, and your lime juice into a shaker with ice and shake vigorously. You'll be straining this into a Collins glass already filled with ice, and you're going to garnish it with a semi-peeled baby plantain.
Okay.
And if you're interested in how you make the jam, you're going to take 8 pureed bananas in a pot with 6 ounces of green chartreuse, 32 ounces of water, and a 1/4 pound of granulated white sugar. Put this on a stove, bring it to a boil. I'll let you guys read into the rest of the process because this explains how you're going to use your gelatin sheets and whatnot. That's just the general intro. The second cocktail is known as the Humans. And this one is 1.5 ounces of Kanon organic vodka, 1 pinch of arugula, interesting, 2 celery stalks, 1 ounce of water, 1 ounce of simple syrup, and the juice from 1 whole lemon.
Wow. I like the way that's partition there. 1 whole lemon, not half a lemon, not a squeeze of a lemon. Nope. Every drop of 1 lemon.
Yeah.
In the base of a mixing glass, you're going to place your arugula and 1 celery stalk, which has been diced into a fine little bit. You're going to muddle these until your celery is completely pulverized. You're going to add ice, the juice from 1 whole lemon, your 1 ounce of simple syrup, your 1 ounce of water, your 1.5 ounce of vodka, shake, and then strain into a Collins glass filled with ice. Garnish with your second celery stalk, and make sure you leave the leaves on for that second stalk. And that, my friends, is how you make both the Apes and the Humans by Ian Ward of the Snake Oil Cocktail Company. Let's get some feedback from my friends.
Oh, we're his friends.
I didn't know he had any.
Wow.
I don't know if that was an insult to us or him.
Right.
So I think I like the Apes drink more. The Humans one just sounds a little odd. That's a lot of lemon.
Yes.
And the arugula also is an odd addition.
Not the pulverized celery.
That was also something that kind of was like, ew. It just doesn't sound
appealing,
good at all.
Yeah.
Just sounds like they grabbed a bunch of random shit, threw it in a glass, and we're like, just put some vodka in there and you're good to go.
It looks like a vegan shake.
So I think Human drink probably a 1 out of 5, maybe a 1.5, and then the Apes probably like a 3.5.
Okay, Isaiah.
That's his monkey sound.
You know what? Okay, so I like vodka, so I think this is Kanon? Kanon? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called Kanon.
Kanon organic vodka. It looks like it's just too veggie. I feel like I'm drinking
too green for me.
Yes, it looks like I would be drinking a shake at a organic juice bar, and it just happened to have
like a kale shot,
like a grass shot or a kale shot.
I mean, like the actual there's literally 2 celery sticks sticking out of it. No. So I'm gonna go with that's probably like a 1 for me, despite the fact I like vodka.
What about the Apes?
The Apes
with the semi-peeled baby plantain.
Baby plantain. I like plantain, so this might actually be like a 3 out of 5 for me.
What do you rate it? Lewis?
I will give the apes a 3.5.
Okay.
Based on the creativity with the banana cachaça.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So if any of my Portuguese speaking friends can correct me on that, that'd be wonderful. But I like the creativity there, and also like the little garnish is actually that's basically what I think the Drink Masters is all about. Aside from obviously these bartenders have to know how to create the drinks that they're asking for. So like one of the challenges is like make us a margarita, right?
Yeah.
And if you break margaritas down to their basic components, you can get very creative as to how you introduce those components, or you can change up like the flavor profile based on just the choice of where you get like, so say instead of using actual lime juice, you use something that has the same citrusy tart flavor of lime juice, or just a different combination of like ingredients, because what mixology becomes in the kitchen is an entirely different beast.
Whoa, chills, straight chills.
As far as the apes go, it's going to get an extra half point for the creativity. So I'll give it a 2. But other than that, I don't think I would enjoy it that much. It's a very odd blend of flavors.
It is. It's like the most watery thing. Like it's an ounce of water and then 2 celery sticks, which is
just water.
It's like water. This is green water.
All right, so the water, I think the water itself, the 1 ounce of water is probably meant to bring out the flavor of the vodka, as well as balance out the juice from an entire fucking lemon.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is probably going to have like a little bit of a lemonade flavor to it, like a vodka lemonade flavor to it, with the green juice.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like a good time.
No, it just doesn't sound that appealing. But I will give it to him for creativity.
Yes.
If you were like a vegan or like a vegetarian and you want to have like a night out and visit a veggie bar, but you wanted some vodka in it, this is what you want.
Yeah, for sure.
But I am not that person, so therefore I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your drinks, Lewis.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I'm going to apologize now because coming up with a fun question is not easy for this series. So it's a bit of a stretch.
Play it to us. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I have no idea what I'm doing for episode 2, but this one is really funny to me. So I'm going to explain to you what kind of primate you are. Okay.
Interesting.
I searched far and wide.
Is it based on the primates that are in the movie, or is it just based on any primate?
Any primate, minus humans.
This will be fun.
Yes. So I picked one for all 3 of us. I did a little bit of research on it. There's over 200 to 300 species that I went through, and these are the ones I picked. And I'm pretty sure most people know these. I tried to pick ones that people knew more about. So this is what I picked based off of 6 different types of primates, which I didn't know there was that many. There's apes / like humans. There's old world monkeys and new world monkeys, which I don't know what the fuck that means. There's, I think it's tarsiers. I probably butchered that. Then there's lemurs and lorises. Okay, so within that 6 different types, here's what I've picked for each of you. So Lewis, you are a Bornean orangutan.
Hell yeah, brother. Like
Maurice from Planet of the Apes. Just want to throw that out. So here's fun facts about them. They are great apes. They have about a 35 to 45 year lifespan, and they use tools in daily activities. Like they use branches to test like the water depth, or like to poke termite holes. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I chose the orangutan for you, Lewis, is not just because Big Lou, but
hell yeah, brother.
So there's 2 reasons. One, they're critically endangered, and to me, there's nobody like Big Lou. So that was reason number 1.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's so nice of me.
What a compliment.
Now, on the contrary.
Oh, no. He brought you back up just to take you back down.
When male orangutans reach maturity, they develop large cheek pads, which female orangutans apparently find attractive. So that was the other reason I chose it.
She's telling me I have thick cheek pads, which means I have a fat ass.
Sure, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to take it.
Yes, that's kind of what I was hoping you would take it as, because that's what I was thinking of when I know that by cheek they mean on the face, but I saw cheek and I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Juicy ass motherfucker.
Double cheeked up on a Tuesday. Something to throw in here about the New World versus Old World. It's just a matter of where the species originated and when it developed, when there was an original. This dives into the whole theory of evolution. Some of our listeners may not agree with that, but New World monkeys were monkeys that originated in like South America and other continents, versus Old World monkeys are the species that have originated, that have like their origins in Africa, along with like the apes, like gorillas and whatnot.
Okay. That makes sense.
There's going to be a different class of species. You know, obviously that's broken down into like that's a very large class, and it's going to be broken down into various species. But it's just a general term.
Now, for Isaiah, I chose for you a Colombian white-faced capuchin.
Hell yeah, brother!
Which, if to dumb it down, it's basically like Jack the monkey from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's accurate.
The capuchin is a New World monkey, so now I know what that means. They have a 15 to 25 year lifespan, and they wash their hands with their pee. Thought that was a fun fact. So that's why I chose Isaiah. No, I'm just kidding. No, the reasons for choosing are two reasons. One, they're among the most intelligent of the New World monkeys, which made me think of fun facts with Isaiah. And then reason number two being, unless they are searching for food, they're probably napping.
Sounds like Isaiah.
Yeah, brother, let's go.
So that's Isaiah's.
And if you guys are in our Discord, you can see a picture of a capuchin monkey.
Yeah. Oh, he's so cute. Now for me, I picked slow loris. A pygmy slow loris specifically. They have a 20-year lifespan, and they often hang upside down from branches by their feet so they can use both hands to eat. Now, the reason I picked a slow loris for myself is the pygmy lorises tend to sleep rolled up in a ball with their head between their legs, and that sounds like me. If that doesn't sound like me, I don't know what does. Second reason being the bigger one, they have a sweet tooth, so they tend to like opt for berries and other fruits, and that is also 100% me.
I would just like to add that if you Google a pygmy slow loris, you get the top question is, are they poisonous? Apparently, yes they are. Yeah,
unfortunately, people try to domesticate them and make them pets, and in order to do that, you have to remove, I think it's their teeth or their claws or something that have the poison in them. And it's their teeth, because they have to feed them little rice balls because they can't chew. It's sad, but they're adorable.
They are.
Pygmy slow loris produces a toxin from glands on its elbow, which it licks to poison its teeth.
So it must remove the glands.
The toxin is only activated when mixed with its saliva.
Oh, okay. But yeah, not really a question today. More of just a
monkey facts.
Little fun monkey fact. Isaiah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear what you have in store for us.
Yes, I have some facts. We're going to talk about monkey movie number 1 today, all right? To be honest, it was kind of hard to find facts for these movies. I finished a movie. I finished a movie, immediately started looking for facts about it, and I think it was up to like 3 o'clock in the morning looking for stuff.
That's surprising.
Yeah. Which I did again for the next movie too, but it's yeah, I don't know. I'll get into it. So now, for in the movie, the newscast of the Icarus space station that pops up every so often, and the headline on the newspaper that says "Lost in Space." If you pay attention to the movie, you'll notice that it comes in real quickly. It is a nod to the original movie, as the movie's plot was about an astronaut that crash lands on a planet he thought was of ape aliens or ape-like aliens, only to find out that it is actually Earth in the future after the apocalypse, and his space shuttle had gotten lost in space in a crash landing, and his shuttle happened to be the Icarus, I believe. Yeah. So interesting plot line. So because basically, to be honest, if this was like a prequel, this not franchise, but this trilogy could technically be a prequel to the original one, given that this is the time that the spaceship went into space and then crash landed in whatever year it did crash land. Because I believe the next movie takes place in like 2026. So a lot of people who worked on King Kong, the 2005 one, including Andy Serkis and all of them, and Avatar. They all worked on this movie, as well as continued to develop the motion capture technology that was used. And if you didn't know, Andy Serkis actually plays King Kong in the original movie.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, so him swinging at planes on stuff on top of the Empire State Building in Peter Jackson's King Kong movie. Yeah, it's just Andy Serkis.
What can't that man do?
It is his dedication to motion capture technology is throughout the years, just from like
never ever say that in the presence of that man. It is motion capture performance, I think is what he says. He legit gets upset if people say it's like motion capture. I think I don't know what he calls it, but he said in like an interview or something that he does not like when people say that.
But the technology part?
No, like motion capture. He doesn't like that. He likes, I forget, like digital performance or something. I don't fucking remember.
Digital performance seems accurate.
He always talks about his performance, which is a very big part. And we call it that man deserves an Oscar, and screw the Academy for saying that he doesn't deserve, that he can't get one because he's not physically on screen. Because,
so stupid.
So stupid. Because if you don't realize, in this movie, he is playing the monkey. That's not like most of the time. Oh, yeah.
Every time I saw Caesar, I was like, that's Andy.
Yeah, what do you call it? Like, it's him doing all the movements as a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like them just kind of figuring it out, or like James Franco talking to some non-existent thing. That's him and Andy Serkis going back at each other. That's an actual performance. So, and the technology that they've used for King Kong and Gollum in The Lord of the Rings and for Avatar, his company, I think Imaginarium or something like that, are the ones that lead that technology to make it so that he can make the performance that he's doing, which is absolutely freaking amazing. But yeah, so a lot of the people who worked on those movies also worked on this movie, and they continue to work on this movie, and they continue to develop the technology so that he can do his amazing work. However, unlike Avatar, they use motion capture in the real world in actual sets rather than a studio, because motion capture up until that point was only used in a very controlled environment inside a studio where everything could be controlled. So bringing the technology outside so that they can have their actors perform in the mocap suits in a real set, this is the first time they've ever done that.
Huh.
So a set constructed for the Golden Gate Bridge scene was the largest motion capture set in the world at the time. It was the first time ever that motion capture was used outside of a studio, and this was achieved by mounting around 200 specialized cameras around the Golden Gate Bridge set that could capture all the mocap data in daylight, as usually the cameras would just follow the white balls and it would emit light. But because they were outside, they can't do that. So they had to use specific mocap suits that had infrared lasers on the balls and their faces so that the cameras could catch all the things that they were doing.
Huh. That's neat. Wait, didn't Pirates of the Caribbean do motion capture outside the studio, or was that all inside the studio?
Studio.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time, Andy Serkis and the other actors portraying apes wore the motion capture suits with tracking dots on their face. They also shot scenes without the apes in order to capture the scene correctly, so that the human actors would sometimes be acting to nothing. Like James Franco sometimes would just be acting to just the air. Otherwise, it would be him acting to a man in a gray jumpsuit with fake ape teeth in his mouth.
Oh, geez.
And wearing a giant head rig. Yeah, so it'd be weird. But yeah, they would record the scenes with people and without the actors so that they could get the information just in case. Because, sometimes the apes would move in ways that the actor obviously couldn't. So to get an accurate portrayal of the monkey, they would have to, move him around or bend him over or something like that. But they would need the information that was in the scene that obviously they couldn't get if he was just in the scene the whole time. Now they could only film about 6 to 7 ape actors that they could capture in motion capture data. So when you see all the monkeys on the movie, there's like 150 of them, but there's only actually like 6 to 7 actual actors. So the mocap data that they had captured from the 6 to 7 actors doing their scenes over and over and over again, they took that information and they threw it on a bunch of other monkeys that they then digitally added in post.
Nice.
So yeah, so like 6 to 7 people would represent like an entire army of apes.
That makes sense though.
To give feelings of apes jumping on cars, obviously since some of them weren't actually, there yet, and they were going to put them in post, they had made special hydraulic press systems into the cars to push them up and down. It would also give the actors, when they jump on it, the weight of the monkey that they were portraying. So obviously if someone was a gorilla compared to an orangutan, compared to a regular chimpanzee, then they would have different weights and they would have to try to match that. Now, here's where it gets a little weird. There's a dude whose entire job is just to teach people how to walk and move like animals and creatures. His job title is called a movement coordinator. His name is Terry Notary.
What a job.
So basically, all the actors had to do like 2 weeks worth of what he called ape school.
Ape school.
The way they would have like crutches on their hands in order to move around. So that, obviously because their apes' arms are sometimes longer than ours and stuff like that. And the way they move, they would have to, portray that correctly. So for the actors to portray that correctly, they would wear crutches and stuff like that. And so he taught them how to move, stuff like that. Now, the apes themselves, when they were putting the mocap data on top of them, they were built from the ground up, including a full skeletal system, muscle, nerve bundles, blood vessels, and fur to give them the most realistic movement as possible. So when, obviously, humans don't move the same way. So when you see a monkey move its head, certain very specific muscles that would move in a monkey's neck were moved to make sure that it was accurately portrayed.
That takes a lot of skill.
It does, because they're like one of the guys who's animating. He's like, you don't ever see the skull or the bones of the monkey, but you have to be able to portray accurately of how something would move given that skeletal structure. So even though you don't see it, it is actually built into the mocap data to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. And those are all my facts for today about this movie, about Monkey Movie 1.
Monkey Movie
1.
I think the CGI overall is amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is impressive what they were able to do, especially for 2011.
Andy Serkis is a marvel.
Now, what do we think about this film overall? Let's just, at the same time, let's all state what we rate it, because I want to start an argument. Okay? Well, I'm curious if it will start an argument.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5.
4.5.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. It's a great film.
Well, you both said 4.5?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just said 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. What are your reasons?
See, I'm going to take half a point.
Why?
So not a lot of people really know that my degree was in like biomedical sciences, but I also minored in psychology and in biomedical anthropology. So I actually took a fair number of anthropology courses and got introduced to a variety of things that had to do not only with apes, chimps, so on, but just evolutionary lineage and how things have developed and so on and so forth. And something I really appreciated in the film, and for the most part, I will say I'm not an expert in this. I'm not going to claim to be, but I think the attention to detail when it came to medical experimentation, the ethical question, the actual charts, machines, the presentation of all these medical related things, excellently done. Definitely tried to portray the most accurate picture as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it explained the ethical question we have of, performing these kinds of tests, experiments, what have you, on not just chimps, but any kind of animal, you know what I mean? And the rigorous process that it goes through, or the rigorous process that it's supposed to go through, and the ethical question that comes with, can we just start testing random drugs on humans, as seen with James Franco doing it to his father? I thought it was interesting that after the theory of evolution, this is not a proven fact, but it is basically said that Homo neanderthalis, Homo floresiensis, these are all ancestral species that have, in some capacity, evolved, create the first human that came from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was an interesting take to take that in this film and put it in the sense of basically accelerating the process of evolution through a drug that created superintelligence in an animal. Because as many people have probably heard throughout most of their growing up in school, primates are our closest living relatives, right? So yeah, I thought that attention to detail on the medical stuff, the anthropological stuff, I thought that attention to detail was very, very nice. I think there was something that I can't put my finger on it right now because I'm trying to search my memory because I have both movies kind of blended. There was something that kind of I think it went too far in terms of my suspension of disbelief. And I was like, I'm going to have to take a point, half a point away for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, definitely excellent movie. highly recommended. This is definitely going to be amongst one of my favorite modern film series.
Okay. I guess we can say this movie hits the tree swinging. Am I right?
Oh my god!
And that's it, folks. Thank you.
How long have you had that one written down for?
I wrote it down the second I started the movie.
Oh my god, that's good.
I like a lot of the setups. Like, there's a lot of setups for things that are going to happen in the future, and they're all naturally occurring. Nothing felt any like really forced. About it. Like, his neighbor is a pilot. Kind of mentions about how he's a pilot. Like, I'm gonna be late for work. Now I can't get to make my flight or something like that. And stuff like that. And obviously in later in the movie, it pays off of like that he's the one who spreads the virus across the planet. Or like the hand gesture and how that becomes such a prominent thing. But how it arrived, showing Caesar the lab and like where he came from and all that stuff was obviously a natural story beat, but then it obviously comes back for when he goes and has to get the virus itself to make everybody smart and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of natural things that like they tell you this information, but it happens naturally just for it to come back later, for that you also reference it, and nothing really felt forced, being like, you should remember this, note this, oh my god, and otherwise you're not going to understand what's going on. So I felt it felt very natural. Andy Serkis is very, very convincing as an ape, human hybrid. The CGI is freaking amazing, and you can always just, all you got to do is rave about Andy Serkis's performance, and pretty much all the other monkeys' performances too, because they all do such amazing jobs convincing you that they're portraying all this emotion, and the only thing they can do is just track their faces. So a lot of the emotion and acting they have to do is based around their movement, because there'd be scenes where just like there's not even any talking. It's just them like making sounds, and their facial expressions are what's selling the contact between the two. Especially like when the first time Caesar's in the sanctuary and he has to fight the other monkey.
Rocket.
Yeah. Oh, is that Rocket? Yeah, Rocket. And there's no dialogue between the two. It's just him trying to like shake his hand, and then it all falls apart so fast. This movie probably has the most perfect pacing I've ever seen.
Oh, I can 100% agree. When it was over, I was like, wait, that's it? I was like, that was so not even fast, but like I just didn't realize that the time went by because of how well it was paced.
With the kidnapping of the apes, it starts there, and that pacing just stays exactly the same throughout the whole movie. Even in times where it was action-based versus the times where it was just a regular conversation between two characters, if there was a bar graph with with the pacing levels, it would have been just straight because it was perfect. And I think one of the coolest parts of is at the end of the movie where it starts showing the spread of the virus. And I think the cool thing about this movie is that had they just made the one, it could have ended there, and you obviously knew where it was headed. Like, oh, what do you call it? The virus spreads across the world, and people start dying and get sick. It's a good ending. It just stops. If you needed to stop it there, that's perfect. You didn't need to do any more but they, obviously they wanted to make another movie, and they built upon that. So, but I do like it when stories have like a finite ending part, and obviously when if it continues, it is on its own separate story that has its own arcs and its own things. It doesn't have too much to like flesh out
cliffhangers or anything like that. Yeah, I
think the reason I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 specifically is because it has a few moments where it's like, I don't know about that. I feel like there was some of the lab scenes where I was like, okay, this is obviously like you're an evil bad guy because you like money, kind of.
Or like when the guy gets sick and doesn't tell anyone.
Yeah, I mean, he did try, but the first thing he did was try to go to his boss instead of the lab. So I was like, okay. I feel like if you got sick from something you got at the lab, it would be protocol to be like, hey guys, I need to get quarantined. We have an issue.
So as you know, I rated it a 5 out of 5. I think the neighbor was unnecessarily a dick, but he deserved everything that happened to him. So I don't care. I think that the scene of the gorilla running up to the horse was amazing and done so well. Absolutely. And it was just like, ooh, like it was one of those action scenes where you're like, that was fucking sick. I think that also, I didn't know Draco Malfoy was in this, so that took me by surprise.
It took me like 20 minutes of looking at it. I was like, I know this guy. Where's he from?
Okay, so this is my biggest point I'm going to make, because you guys pretty much touched on everything I wanted to say. This is my theory that I wanted to throw to you guys. Now, we know Buck, the gorilla, right?
Yes.
He gets shot trying to take the helicopter down. truly a hero.
Yes, absolutely.
And we know he's a gorilla, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we go on the internet and we go to Planet of the Apes WikiHow, you'll notice that they have info on Buck.
Mhm.
He is a Western lowland gorilla, and he died mid-2016, which sounds very familiar, does it not?
I know where you're
got
going
shot.
with this.
I don't.
In 2016,
Oh no.
and he was the exact same species as Harambe.
Oh my god.
Now, of course, this film came out 5 years before Harambe. So my theory is, did they fucking predict Harambe?
Were they trying to warn us?
Were they trying to warn us of the dark times ahead? So that is my theory. I think it's a great theory.
Who is the director of this film?
The odds of it being the same species, being the same time. So like in the movie Planet of the Apes, he dies mid-2016. It is stated online that that is the time that Buck dies, which is around the same time that over in Cincinnati, another legend dies.
R.I.P. Harambe, sipping on some Bombay.
So, anyways, that is really all I have to say about this movie. 5 out of 5. I've heard that the third one is like a masterpiece, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard 1 is amazing, 2 is not terrible, but it's not the best out of the 3, and then 3 is the best somehow. Anyways, that's literally all I wanted to say. Thank you for joining us for season 6. We appreciate you guys sticking around so long. And you know the drill. Follow us on our social medias at Silver's Green Sips. And please share us with your family and friends or anybody else who might love movies as much as us.
Specifically your mother.
Yeah, it's seriously, it helps us create a lot better episodes for you guys, and it helps us to grow bigger so we can do more stuff for you. Feel free to email us as well at silverscreensips@gmail.com if you have any questions or movie suggestions for our listeners episode. And we will see you in the next episode where we talk about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Hell yeah, brother.
Dawn
Dish soap.
Not sponsored.